Good morning. Here we are today for another session of this online training organized by FECIT. Today, within the frame of all the tools available through the Web of Science, we are going to talk about Publons. Publons is the new platform where we have now your identificators, your researchers' IDs. And here is the program of this session today. I'm going to remind the story of Publons, what it is, and then we're going to have a look of a profile, the profile of a researcher. So we get familiar with what we have in Publons and all the sections of this profile, which objective is to make visible all the contributions of a researcher to the community. It's not only about publications. And then we will go into practice. After we've seen a profile, we might be inspired and we want to create ours, or we want to update ours. And I'm going to teach you some of the things that we have to create and update my profile. Why Publons? So it's very difficult to search the papers of a person per name because one author, one researcher might have published below different identities, different combinations of his surnames and names. Especially in Spain, you have two surnames. The vast majority of people are publishing with one or the two, and that's varying along their career. So that's one of the problems that we might have. The second one is if we have a very current name that is used by many people, that's my case. When I'm looking for publications by my name and surname, I'm finding papers that are not mine at all. So searching the output of a person with her name is very complicated, and it's complicated everywhere, especially in countries who are not using our alphabet, the Latin alphabet, other languages. When they translate to our letters, sometimes their names become all equal instead of very different. That's, for example, here we have some statistics for China. In Chinese language, the names are very different. We know it's a big country with a lot of citizens, but when they translate to our alphabet, it's all the same, unfortunately. So that's a big problem for them too. We see here with a mere 100 surnames, we make 85% of China's population. That's incredible. That's because of the alphabet. So that's an international problem. And based on that problem, we are offering solutions. The best solution is a unique identifier for each of the researchers. There is nothing automatic. You have to create it. You create it once and you have this ID, this identificator. And the first, so this is the problem that we have. When I'm searching with an author's name, because that's possible in the Web of Science, it's explained here how I have to do it with the surname and then the initial of the name with an asterisk. I am finding, if you have a common name, you will see that whether you're finding many more papers that are not yours, or if you're using a small version of your name, you might miss other papers published under another variant of your name. So based on that problem, now we are arriving to the solution, the identificator. The first platform that was created allowing people to create their identificator was called ResearcherID. That platform was created in 2007 by our company, Clarivate. So that was the first one, now more than 10 years ago. A few years later, in 2012, we had Orchid, a new platform that was created that is still existing. This one is not related to any company. It's a non-profit organization. So it's a platform that is completely independent and that I guess almost all Spanish researchers are using because they have the obligation to create at least one identificator, and I guess this one is Orchid. When this platform was created, we supported Orchid with a grant with the concept of the researcher ID. And nowadays, we are still working with Orchid because in the Web of Science, you're going to be able to see both identificators, the Orchid and the researcher ID. In 2013, a third platform was created in New Zealand with a very different objective that was created by two researchers. In this case, they wanted to make visible the work that is done by peer reviewers. Peer reviewers are those people who are receiving manuscript. It's a volunteer work that they are doing for free. And they read those papers and they provide feedback, they provide comments, and in the end, they are the people who are deciding if it's worth publishing this paper. So that's very important to maintain a healthy publication system, to have peers, experts reviewing new manuscripts. Before the creation of Publons, this work was totally invisible. And thanks to Publons, it became visible. What happened a few years later is that our company bought that web page. That's completely free. That's a public web page. And we are now making that page, which is still called Publons, a new platform where a researcher can have a full profile, which means its publications and also its peer reviews contributions. Because what happened last year is that we migrated all the information that we had in ResearcherID to Publons. So that's a big event 1.5 years ago. This platform no longer exists. Its content, with the authorization of each of the users who had an account there, was migrated to Publons. And now in Publons, we have the publications, we have the peer review, and we have gradually more and more things. And this is what we're going to see today. Now let's have a look at the profile of a researcher in Publons. So Publons is completely a free platform. Anybody can go there and search. And you can also, if you want, create an account and create your profile. That's still free when you create your account and profile. So this is the first thing that we're going to do. We're going to look for a researcher. So I have opened here the platform. Below the button Browse, I have the option to search different types of entities. And I'm going to start. I am here in the Browse Researchers. I have different fields, 4 fields here, and I can select how I'm going to choose. I'm going to apply the first one, which is Spain. I only want to see researchers currently affiliated to a Spanish institution. That's the first filter. They might be affiliated to 2 institutions at the same time. This is why we're seeing, for example, I guess this author, he has decided that the primary institution that would appear would be that one, but probably below, when we're looking at this profile, we're going to see also a Spanish institution. So that's perfectly normal. You can be affiliated to more than one institution at a time, but in the end, you have to decide which one is going to appear in the very brief summary of that table. And I'm going to apply another one. Today I'm going to search for researchers from University of A Coruña. So I'm writing Coruña. It's appearing with the ñ in this case, not always. Perfect. So now I have the list. I have applied those two filters. And I have a list of researchers. Again, some of them, it's not their first affiliation. They have other ones. In this list, so first of all, I can apply also some filters here. Usually you have this one clicked, but I don't like it. I want to see all their scientific output, not only the last 12 months, so I have unchecked it. I could have a look at if there are highly cited researchers, if there are peer review award winners. Let's put that one, for example. So we see here the symbol is the medal. And if I unclick, I have them all again. And next to each of the names, I have three columns: publications, peer review, and verified editors' records. The table per default is organized per verified reviews, the higher number, but I can reorganize it differently. Okay, I can choose how I'm going to organize this table. Another thing also is this last one, like this filter. Sorry for that. I'm back. So I was saying that there is one more filter that is Web of Science core collection. What is this? I have it checked right now, which means that for each of the researchers, what I am seeing in the publication column is the number of publications that they have part of the Web of Science core collection. If I unclick, I am going to see different numbers because within Publons, you can claim the authorship of papers, books, conference proceedings, which are part of the Web of Science or not. You can claim the totality of your output, all your papers, all your contributions. And when I'm doing a search, I can check or not this filter. In my case, I prefer having it checked because then I'm going to compare when I'm going to do a search in the core collection to see if the numbers are matching. So I have decided to use an example today. That example is that researcher, Paula Fraga Lamas. I have opened her profile. It's there already. It's prepared. For each cycle of training, I'm choosing a different person, so I don't know any of them. It's just by chance. I choose a profile that is more or less up to date as an example. So today we're going to work with this example that is a researcher from Universidad da Coruña. Let's have a look now to her profile. So at the top, we see that summary of number of publications that she has claimed in her profile. We see the citations that are related to those publications, only the ones in the core collection. In this case, when I leave my mouse on this number, this is what it's saying. Total citations from the Web of Science core collection, the H index, and the number of verified reviews. And here at the top right, I am seeing the researcher ID of this person. This is where it is located now. It is in this platform. And we see that when I see the code, I had the sensation that it was created 4 years ago in 2016 that she created this identificator. I am still here in the summary section. I'm going to open the summary section. Paula has declared the research field she's working on, she's an expert on. That's a very good thing. You can put more than once, as you see here. That's very interesting because, for example, journals are using those fields when they are looking for new reviewers. So that's useful. And I guess that if I was looking for an expert in some of those fields, I'm going also to do a search with one of those fields to have a look at who is investigating in these fields. Then we have the identifiers. We have two identifiers, the ResearcherID and the ORCID. Here you have the option also to put more identifiers if you want more platforms. So here we have the two ones. The biography, I recommend writing something. Could be short, could be long, you decide. But that's helpful to know what you're doing or what you've done. And now we are going to move to other sections of the profile. We are here in the summary. We are going to see more in details the publications. Here it's only the summary. We can navigate here in the different sections of this profile. So let's go now to publications. Let's have a look at the papers. Here we see first in the section the names of the journals. We see how many papers this researcher has published in each of the journals. For example, in the Census Journal, there is 21 papers for this author. And for those journals, there is like sometimes a small label, which means that this journal is indexed in the Web of Science core collection. By the way, there are not only journals, and it's clear here that there are also conference proceedings. Okay, so you can declare also chapters of books, conference proceedings, different types of publications that you have, not only scientific articles. And we see here some examples and in different languages, by the way. Let's have a look now at the papers. We have the list here, 80. Again, we see the tag Web of Science for those in Web of Science journals. And the tab is organized per times cited, but I could organize it per most recent. And when I organize per most recent, we have new papers this year, and some of them haven't had any citation yet, which is quite normal, it's quite new. And that's another option to see the papers. And we see here proceedings again. So we see it's not only scientific article, Paula has also here proceedings in her profile. Excellent. It looks like it's up to date. Let me put it again per most cited. Now let's have a look to another section. Oh, by the way, before I forget, here it's a link, okay? It's a link to that publication, but not in the Web of Science. I'm going to open it. You're going to see that in Publons, they have their own record. So that paper has its record in Publons, and it's quite different than in the Web of Science. And we see that this paper has been claimed by two authors. Two people have claimed the authorship. And yeah, the two ones, by the way, apparently, that I'm seeing here. Okay, let me go back. I have here the accesses to the Web of Science. I'm going back to the profile. Let's have a look at another section, peer review now. Publons initially was a platform for peer review. Verified reviews, we see a list again. It's organized per journal, and there are more, up to 40 journals. I'm going to stop here. We are not seeing any confidential information here. We are following the policies of the journals. We see that, for example, again, for the journal Sensors, Paula has made 7 peer reviews, and sustainability, 6 peer reviews. One important thing in this tab is the word verified. It means that here I cannot claim things that I haven't done. Publons in the backstage is verifying this information, is contacting each of those journals to verify that indeed this person has done 3, 4 peer reviews. So this information is verified. Sometimes, let me see at the bottom, if there is something. No, there is nothing here. Sometimes at the bottom, we see here a message that is, for example, there is one or there are 2 awaiting verifications. Okay, in this case, that means that the author has said, I have done 1 or 2 more peer reviews, but Publons is awaiting to the answer of the journal to verify this information. Once they receive the confirmation of the journal, then it will belong to the tab as a verified review. And now we are going to the last section, metrics. Let's have a look at the metrics that we have here. This one, you can have it in the Web of Science, in the citation report. That's the bars are the publications, number of papers per year. And the line is the citations. The more you publish, the more you're going to accumulate citations. So that's an interesting one that we can have also in the Web of Science. And on the right side, that's a bit different. That is something that you will never find in the Web of Science because that's the specialty of Publons, reviews. And we see when Paula has done the first one, and in 2018, this is when she has done a vast number of reviews, and then it goes down again. And there is a little bit more detail here in the profile. I'll let you dive a bit more in it to see here it's per month for the reviews. Okay, so we've had a look at the profile of a person. I've explained that for the reviews, they are verified. And there is one more thing that might be interesting for peer reviewers. We have more and more journals that are collaborating with Publons, which means that in this case, if they are partnering with Publons, and if in her profile, her private profile, we are going to see that just after, I give the authorization for those Publons partners to provide this information to Publons. In this case, I no longer have to claim those peer reviews. Each of those journals will communicate directly to Publons that, for example, this person has done now a new peer review for my journal. Please update a Publons profile. So that's one of the advantages that we have when we have more and more journals partnering with Publons. That's less work for the peer reviewer, and it can become semi-automatic. That's the proper journal that is communicating this information, and we are updating this person's profile if she has provided the authorization. That's always the person's decision in the end. Before we continue with Publons, I wanted just to show quickly the advantage of having an identificator, and she has two, by the way. She has the orchid also here appearing, so I could copy one or the other. I am going to copy here her researcher ID. I am copying it. I am going to the Web of Science. And I'm not going to do a search per author because we've seen it's complicated. I am going to do a search per author identifier. And here it explains that I can choose either the researcher ID or the ORCID. That's the one. I am copying it. Here we go. And I'm searching. Okay, here we are. And now we are having a list of the publications claimed by this person. Publications part of the Web of Science core collections. We see that there are 45 publications part of the core collections, which means that the rest of the publications that she has claimed are whether probably in other databases. Okay, this is why we see a difference. And where are we going to see this identifier? Let me open the most recent one. Paper of this year, August 2020, that she has claimed here because we see her identifier. So below the title, the names of the authors, there is a table that is sometimes a bit hidden. You have to open it. And I see that for this paper, there are two authors, and excellent, the two authors have claimed this paper in their in Publons, in their researcher ID. So this table is not appearing here automatically. For that table to be up to date, we need that each of the authors in each of those platforms claims this paper. If the author is not taking care of updating his profile, whether in Researcher Idea or in ORCID or both, by the way, this table will not appear. Once they update their profile in those platforms, then the table will appear with the ones that have claimed their publications. So we have here the researcher ID, which is in our platform, Publons, and because we keep collaborating with ORCID, that's a partner, we are also putting here their identifier. So this is how it works. The author has to take care of updating his profiles, at least in Researcher ID or in ORCID or in both, and there is the option to synchronize both profiles. Now we're going to have a look at this part of the work. How do I create my profile? How do I update my profile? So let's go to some theory. Let me go further in the presentation. Okay, we are arriving here. So something that is very important is that once you have an account, whether it's the Web of Science, Publons, EndNote, that account with an email and the password is a shared account for all of those platforms. So I have to take care not to have duplicated things and to use one account with the email that I prefer. I recommend institution, but that's not an obligation. That's a recommendation. And by the way, in our lives, we may change from an institution to the other. We can update that email anytime, no problem. It's not something that is here forever. You can update that email when you're changing institution, for example. So if you have, for example, this week created already an account in Web of Science, you don't need to create a new account for Publons. Simply, you're going to do the login with the same email and the same password. Okay, so that's going to be the same account that you're going to use. If you have none of them, or if you're not sure, maybe I have one, I don't remember because I had a researcher ID, but I haven't done anything in years. In this case, you will try to log in with your email and your password and see if there is something yours in Publons. That's a good way to check if I have an account in Publons that was migrated, for example, from researcher ID, something that happened to a lot of people who forgot completely, and now they don't know that they have an account in Publons. So that's one of the things that the first thing that we have to take care of using that same account. And afterwards, we are going into the private dashboard. So here I'm going back to the practice. So to be able to create an account, I need to log in and then I have a private. I am the only person who is going to see this. I am showing mine. I cannot show the one of someone else. That's my private dashboard. And this is where I am going to configure my profile. So there are a lot of options here on the left. We cannot see all of them. I am going to start with the configuration of this account. That's the last section here on the left. Let's start with my account. Yes. So the first thing that I wanted to show here, you're using an email. You can change your email anytime. You can change your password. And here, the option that I recommend is to take advantage and connect your Researcher ID account with your ORCID. This is what I have done. I have connected my Researcher ID account with my ORCID. And I can remove it, but I'm going to keep it. And then I'll show you how you can synchronize both. But that's the first step. Before you synchronize, you have here to connect the two accounts. A lot of people have now duplicated accounts because they didn't notice, they claimed with another email. And how can I clean these accounts? This is in the delete section. I have here two messages that I can send to the Publons team. And the one that is most uses is I have a duplicate account, which means that I select, and it's not going to delete the account right away. It's only a notification that is going to arrive to the Publons team. They want to make sure there is no mistake. And once they receive the message, a few days afterwards, they're going to contact you. I have seen that you have requested to delete this account. Could you please confirm that it's not a mistake? This is really what you want, and they're going to proceed. Okay, that's not something that I can do right away because we can do a lot of mistakes, and then we cannot go back and restore our profile, and it's a shame because it's a lot of work. So they want to check first. Okay. By the way, how do I know if I have a duplicate account? There is a simple search that you can do with your name. Simply, I am searching my name. I am not applying here any filter. I want to see everything that is in Publons. I am writing my name, and Publons is searching not only the name that I've written, but also variants. Okay, so which is really great. It's searching variants, and I see that there is only one account with this name, and I'm looking at variants. There is none that is mine. So I'm pretty sure in this case that there is only one account. So that's a simple way to see if I have or not a duplicated account. And unfortunately, a lot of people have duplicated accounts because they have claimed papers without being signed with their account. So let me go back now to the private dashboard. We're going to continue. After the account, we're going to profile. Profile, we have different sections. You can put your photo. I recommend putting a photo, especially if there are different people with that name. Here you're going to choose what is the name that you're going to put in your profile. Okay, you have the option to choose that can be something different that you have in your papers. For example, in some countries, once a woman gets married, she's changing her surname. Okay, so that's another problem also, changing surnames. That's the same person, but with another surname. Okay, so here you can choose what is the name that you're going to put, make it appear on your profile at the top of the page. But here in this section, it's important that you put all the alternative publishing names because the algorithm is going to use that information to find your papers. Okay, so in my case, I am working now for Clarivate under that simple and short name, but when I was a researcher, I was using my two surnames because otherwise it's wide. There are a lot of Andelgados in the word. So I had decided always to publish with my two surnames. And I have also two names. So sometimes it's one, sometimes it's two. So I have seen that with the small number of papers that I have, those are my alternative publishing names, and I separate them with dot comma. Okay. So it's important that you put this information here. I am now living in Spain and working in Spain. So this is the country that I'm putting in my profile. I have written a biography explaining that I am not a researcher, I'm not a peer reviewer. I'm using this profile only for training and demonstration purposes, so people know that I have no interest in participating in anything, but I just need that profile to showcase how it works. Research fields. So I have written one, the one that corresponds the most to what I was doing in the past, but you can type anything you want here. I am starting typing and you see that it can be finance, it can be anything that you have here. So you can choose and create new research fields or take advantage. I think that with Polymer, there is a bunch of them. Uh, Maybe I have to start writing again, or it didn't like the fact that I wasn't choosing. Anyway, so let me refresh the page. Okay, it's refreshed. Okay, polymer. And you see with this word, there are a lot of research areas, wide one or more specific one. I'm leaving it as it is. Profile display. I have some options about what is going to be displayed. Allow others to see your alternative publishing names, yes or not. You decide. When you have your publications, they can be organized per default per most cited or most recent. You decide. And about metrics, allow others to view your metrics page, total citation, and H index. Allow others to see Web of Science H index. So you decide also, and then you save your profile. So there's a lot to do in this section. That's one of the most important. But now we are going to affiliations. That's another one. Affiliations. It can be affiliations when you are a researcher, but it can be affiliations also to publisher. Like here, editorial board membership. So you have those different sections. I'm going to institutions affiliations here, and there is also other affiliations, for example, associations, organizations. That one is the institutions affiliations, the ones that are going to appear also into papers as authors institutions. You might have been in different institutions along your career. So you have the option to put here the lists and also a frame of years, start, end, and you can have more than one at the same time, absolutely no problem. And you can have more than one at the present moment. It's not my case. I have only put Clarivate Analytics, but I could put here present also. Not a problem. It's something that is completely allowed. You can be part of 2, 3 institutions at the same time. That happens a lot. But there is only one dark button that you can select, either in one line or the other. That's your primary institution. That's the institution that is going to appear just below your name at the top of your profile. So you can belong to different institutions at the same time. When I'm going to do a search per institution, I'm going to find you whether it's your primary institution or not. But in the end, you have to choose what is your preferred, your primary institution, the name that is going to appear below, just below your name on the summary of your profile. So this is where I am going to do it. Now, let's have a look at emails. In emails, so this is where you can also update your email address. This is where availability, you're going to be able to somehow publicly say to journals if you are available or not for a peer review. In my case, I have just informed that I am unavailable to review indefinitely because I am not dedicating myself to this at all. But I could say that I am unavailable. Or I could say I will be unavailable to review between this date and this date. For example, if you are teaching, you're very busy and you only have some weeks in the year when you are really fully available and can take care of peer reviews. Okay, so you have 3 options here. And here you will decide what are your preferences in terms of receiving notifications from Publons, from journals, and so on. Your email preferences. You save your changes. And we're going to the last one in the settings, another one that is important. So the first section here in terms of authorizations, permissions, is the one related from reviews from partners. As I said before, we have thousands of reviews now partnering with Publons. If you give here the authorization to those journals, you will no longer have to inform Publons that you have done a new peer review. That same journal will communicate it directly to Publons and Publons will update your profile. So not every journal is partnering with Publons. There is a way to know if it's partnering with Publons, but more and more journals are partnering. And in this case, that means if you provide authorization, less work for you to claim your peer reviews. And I'm going now here more at the bottom. This is the section, your ORCID, where you can, after you have declared add this ORCID in your profile, this is the section where you can synchronize your Publons profile and your ORCID profile, which means that you will no longer have to update both. You will only need to update one or the other, you preferred, and they will synchronize automatically. So that step is not simple, obvious. So what I'm doing here in my presentation, I have somewhere, let me go to the next one. Yes, that's that one. A link. We have a guide here in English that explains everything you have to do, the steps that you have to follow to be able to properly synchronize both your account, ORCID, and ResearcherID. We have a guideline here that you can open, download, and read carefully because that would be a whole another section. Okay, so I leave this like some homework to see after this presentation. Read if you are interested in synchronizing both your accounts, Publons and ResearcherID. In terms of, I think I've done you save changes, we go back, and now we are going to see other sections, publications. Let's go to publications. How can I, now that I've configured my profile, how can I update my profile and claim my publication? This is in this section at the top, publications. You see here that I have claimed already mine. It's a small number. Now we're going to see how you can do it. There are 4 different options. If I click in import publications, I see the 4 options that I have available. Import from Web of Science, synchronize with ORCID, import a file with identifiers, titles, DOIs. I recommend identifiers, DOIs. You see here if I open, but there are other identifiers, that's the best, or PubMed ID or archive. The DOI is the one that is mostly used. And I have a 4th option that is another type of file that you can also upload, but important when you're using identifiers, it's better. We're going to have a look at this one more in detail. If I'm clicking in here, see my Web of Science publications, the tool is offering me, I think it's telling me, Publons, based on my information on my profile, my email, my affiliations, my name, it's telling me there is one that might be yours with Anne Delgado. Do you want to import it? Is that yours? In this case, it's not mine, so I'm not going to import it. Mines are up to date. But you see here how the algorithm is working. So you can use it, or another option is, let's say that I'm going back to the Web of Science. This is how I've done it, by the way, when I have created my account. Let me go back. I search my publications and one by one, or through a mark list, by the way, I have created, by the way, a mark list with my publications. And then you could claim them all at once, or if you already have your account and you want to update it, let's say this one, let's imagine that Paula hasn't claimed yet this paper. It's new one. I want to claim it in my profile. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to log in the Web of Science with my account. Take care here, it's very important. If I'm not with my account, I'm going to be in trouble, because when I'm going to do expert claim on Publons, this is an option that I have, and I would keep exporting and confirming. I'm not going to do it. That paper is not mine, okay? But that's the option that I have with my new papers. It's very important that when I do it, I am with my account here, because otherwise, if I am with an anonymous account with the sign-in, when my instruction is going to arrive to Publons, Publons is not going to find me. Who is this person? Sign in. Who is this? I don't know this person. Let's create a new profile. And this is what is still happening to a lot of people. And this is why we have a lot of duplicates accounts. It's important that you do that operation always when you are identified. You are within the Web of Science with an identified session. Otherwise, duplicate account. And then I have to clean. Okay? So that's very important to check that I am with my account, and then I can claim on Publons. And in a few seconds, I am going to see that new paper in my list. If I made a mistake, no problem, let me go back. We can make mistakes, we are humans, and even machines make mistakes. Let me go back to my publications. Anytime I can correct my mistakes. I have here the garbage. I've done a mistake, that's not mine, please remove it. That's it, as simple as that. What do you need to have an ID, an identificator? You would need to have at least one paper published in the Web of Science core collection. That could be a conference proceeding, by the way, not necessarily an article. So you can create your profile, but before you have any paper part of the core collection, you would have a profile with no identificator. Once you claim your first publication coming from the Web of Science core collection, automatically, I guess it's the day after, you will be assigned a new identificator. This is how it works. There is a small requirement to be able to be assigned an identificator. Now that we've seen for the publications, let's have a look at different things in my Publons profile. There is the option to export a quick CV here. If I have no time, I'm being asked something and I am lucky, I am lucky, not really. My Publons profile is up to date. That's not luck, that's work. Let's take advantage of the work that I've done updating my Publons profile and export something into a CV. I could select the data, start date, end date. I could select the format, usually it's PDF. I could select the sections that I want, the metrics that I want to add in the CV, and then at the bottom, I generate that PDF. That's a quick option that can sometimes provide some quick documents and allows you to save time and submit your application, for example, to something. There is a new option, a few months, this option that is called Citation Map. Let's go there. Citation Map is something that was years ago in the Web of Science, that disappeared from the Web of Science, and that is now in Publons. That citation map is using the papers that you have claimed in your profile and is indicating here in the global map where are the citations coming from. For these authors who have cited your papers, they are affiliated to some institutions. Where are they? We see drops and we see circles. Circles, which means that there are a lot here. And if I zoom, let me zoom on Europe, gradually the circles are dividing and I'm getting more detail per country, and then I'm getting more detail per city. You see here I have 2 in Universidad de Almería, 2 citations, and I have 77 in Barcelona, 7 here, I don't know, Spain, I guess. Let me keep zooming to see where those citations are coming from. And the more I zoom, the smaller I'm getting numbers. Let me keep zooming. And for example, here I have 2 coming from Galicia. And I am clicking here. That's a citation, Universidad de Vigo, microemulsions, dynamics. And it's the same paper coming from another university. So when you see this map, you might see the citation to the same paper coming from 2 different parts of the world, because here in this case, that's a paper with 2 authors at least coming from 2 different institutions. Let me open, by the way, this one, and we're going to see if there are more authors coming from other. Oh no, only those 2 institutions. So could have more institutions. So an interesting map. I am going to unzoom now, and you see where the citations, who is reading you and who is utilizing your work as bibliographic references, and it's transformed into a citation. Now you've seen that this map generated very quickly for me because I only have 8 publications. If you have a lot of publications, that might take some time. Be patient, it will generate in the end. So we've seen almost everything in Publons. I just wanted to highlight 2 or 3 more things. First of all, the FAQ page. Very interesting, the best FAQ page ever. If you have any doubt with Publons, go there. Go to the FAQ. Type something. Look for the information. One of the frequent questions that I'm having is how do I add my reviews? How can I find add my old reviews to my profile, the ones that I've done years ago? I don't even have the thank you email. How can I do this? So you have here the answers. How do I add peer reviews to Publon? How do I find and add old reviews? There is always a way to go back in time. The journals have all this information um, registered in their files, so they will find you if at some point you've done a review for them. And you have here the review email. That's one of the frequent questions that I'm having. So FAQ, use it. If there is really something you're not finding, or there is an issue with your profile, you cannot correct it, you have in this page also the option to create a new ticket that will arrive to the Publons team, and they will proceed. They will contact you and confirm what you need and proceed with your request. The Publons team is in New Zealand, which means that when we are working, they are sleeping, and when we go to bed, this is when they start working. So there is always this time problem, but they reply quite quickly. The thing also is that from the moment we've created the author records, we are having more than 1,000 people claiming their author records every day. And some of them have duplicated accounts, which means that the team is really overloaded with a lot of requests. You might see some delay in their reply, but there is no need to create a new ticket. Your ticket is there. They are going per emergency, per priority, and they will contact you and they will do it. Don't be desperate. They will come back to you. It's just that and they are receiving a lot of requests. You have also available for free what we call the Publons Academy. Here I'm going back to the review process because initially Publons was a platform for reviewers. The Publons Academy, it's a free course that you can do to learn how to do a peer review if you've never done a peer review. So go to course we have here. It's completely free. It's online. You go at your pace. You have different modules. I guess it's 10 different modules. It's in English. And you have a mentor and you have some exercises. And in the end, you receive like a certificate that you've done that course and you're ready to start. And so that's something that I recommend if you want to learn and start dedicating yourself to peer reviewing, because that's important. The uh, publication word is missing uh, peer reviewers because there are more and more publications. Publishers are looking for reviewers. So if you've never done that, you can learn and then offer yourself to start doing some peer reviews. Usually, they are looking for people who are at least working in that field, who have at least the knowledge, the scientific knowledge to be able to evaluate the work of someone. Every year, let me go to my next slides. Let me advance. Every year, the Publons Academy is also giving some awards. There are different types of awards. Let's go here. The excellent reviewers and the top reviewers. I'm opening the page. So we have the top reviewers. You see here the explanation and the methodology. And there are the excellent reviewers. Every year there is a new edition. We see here on the list. So the top 1 reviews, this is in terms of the number of peer reviews you've done in a discipline in a scientific field, research field. We see here that we have again the 21 fields of ESI. And excellent reviewers, it's not a number, it's the feedback, the rating that both the journals, the author have provided about your work when you've read the manuscript and you've provided feedback and comments. So that's different. One is in numbers and the other one is in the feedback of the work that you have done. And if I'm going back to the profiles that I had here, let me see. So we are here in the list for Universidad da Coruña, and some of them are top peer reviewers. They have the medal here, okay? Top peer reviewers. I'm going to apply the filter, peer review award winners. We have some here with this medal. And this medal appears automatically in their profile. They have no control over it. It's Publons that is controlling those icons in their profile. And in the case of Paula, it's different. It's not a top peer reviewer. Let me open her profile again. She has the star of an excellent reviewer, which means she has received excellent feedback on her work. So in this case, it's quality. It's not a quantity. So you see, it's a very different platforms. So if you want to dive a bit more in journals, see the ones that are partnering with Publons, offer yourself to do peer review for them. You're going to look at those journals here, browse by journals, for example. Let's have a look. Let's apply some filters, some that are partnering with us. So we see here the journals that are partnering with us. Let's also see the ones that have transparent peer review. More and more are getting transparent peer review. And I'm going to open one of the profiles. Wiley is the one that has more peer reviews. Let's open, no, maybe this one, yes, journal, this one. Okay. This is the profile of a journal, official partner and transparent peer review. And we see the policy of that journal in terms of peer review. What is the information that can be public or not? And in this case, we see that the reviewer can choose if this information is going to be displayed or not. There are some options. So we do not decide. That's the policy of the journal. And afterwards, we see some people who have endorsed this journal. We see one of the editors. And if I'm interested and I would like to do some peer review for the journal because the neuroscience research is my specialty, I can click in this button, click to let them know. Interested in reviewing for this journal, click to let them know. I am informing them. Just in case for you to know, I am a specialist in neuroscience. Look at my profile. I have published in this field and I would like to do some peer reviews for you because I have some availability in the next few months. So that's also something that we have in Publons. Okay, so we are arriving at the end of this training. That's time for the questions. But before we dive into the questions, I wanted to say that what we've done today with the Identificator and the Publons, it's only part of the training, the Web of Science training related to authors. I highly recommend that somehow you listen to the recording of the other training that is called B2, the author records in the Web of Science, because this is the other side of a person's publications in the Web of Science. Now, more and more, the Web of Science and Publons are working together accordingly. So now I have done only Publons with the Identificator, but I highly recommend listening to the other side of the training where we are seeing at a person's publications in the Web of Science. I'm dedicating the full time in the Web of Science with this new option to have also in the Web of Science an author record. Okay, now let's go to the questions.